Yeah, and I mean, I think the league is better when it's more competitive and it's more spread out. I mean, I think right now it's so fun that the Knicks are really interesting, that the Cavs like that there's so many of these teams that have so many interesting players. And I think in some ways, I think people really like to dog on the NBA and say that, it's like the lack of LeBron or a Michael Jordan makes it not as good of a league, but the exciting thing is like the older guys are the guys that you're kind of having a problem with on a nightly basis playing hard, that generation that lived with rest. But the generation of guys like Shea, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, I mean, we're talking about guys that when they're healthy, they play basketball. And when they're healthy, they care about basketball. I mean, that game the other night between the Thunder and the Timberwolves, I mean, that game mattered, right? Like it doesn't probably matter in the grand scheme of things, but it mattered that those two teams played hard. And so I think the NBA is taking steps to be a more competitive league on a night to night basis.
I always compare it to like when I tell people that are complaining, like, the effort's not there, the defensive intensity is not there. Like, no one plays defense in the NBA. That might be true to an extent, and maybe the talent level, like night in, night out, isn't what people want it to be, or just because it's bigger faces and small markets, so the casual fan's not seeing that. But I compare it to like the 2000 to 2004 era, maybe 2005 era of the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
where you have some big names. You have LeBron coming into the league. Kobe and Shaq are a force to be reckoned with. And that's what we kind of see now. You have the guys that have been around for a little bit still being dominant, like your LeBrons and your Giannis's, guys of that nature. But at the same time, you have your Shays and your Lucas and your Wembys. And you can kind of compare that to the 2003 version of like Dwayne Wade, Carmelo, LeBron, like these guys are coming into the league. It's going to take a little bit of time. Sure, like your middle class, if you will, of NBA guys isn't what it was at one point, but in 5 to 7 years, it's going to be right back to where it was.
Mm-hmm.
We have these big time names, they're fan favorites, they've been around for a while. It just takes time to develop. And I think we're just, we're kind of at the end of the, 2010s era and we're starting the 2020s. And it's going to take a little bit of awkwardness for fans to get used to that, but that's just the reality we live in.